So let's talk about how to be profitable with cold outreach. And this is a really important topic because a lot of people they hop into a new sales channel, but they don't really think about how they're gonna make a specific sales channel profitable in the long term. So this is what I'm gonna talk about specifically in this video. And there are two things that matter when it comes to addressing this question here. The first one is the LTV to CAC ratio that you're getting with cold outreach. So what is the lifetime value of a customer, and how much does it cost you to acquire that customer via cold outreach? The second thing is the actual sales velocity. So, what is the average number of customers that you can close per month with cold outreach? And the reason why both of these matter is that you could, in theory, have a really good LTV to CAC ratio with cold outreach. But if your sales velocity is really low and you're only closing, one customer a year from cold outreach, it doesn't really make sense to even run the channel. On the other hand, if you're getting a lot of customers from cold outreach, but you're completely overpaying for each one of these customers, leaving you with a really small margin, then it also doesn't make sense. So both of these things need to be optimized, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video and show you exactly how to calculate it. So the things we need to know to actually do this calculation is we need to know the size of the TAM. We need to know how often we want to contact the TAM. And we need to know at what rates do our emails convert the TAM into customers, and what does the outreach cost us. When we have the answer to all of these questions, then we can start to address this specific topic here. So for this purpose, I have this calculator here. Let me zoom in a bit. So we have the first thing here, which is the total contacts in the market. So this would be the size of your total addressable market. Now, this is one of those factors where this is not really something you can change unless you change your ICP or you add a different offer or something like that. But let's just assume, for the sake of argument here, that it's 50,000 contacts in your total addressable market. So let's say we do a three-step sequence, meaning that we basically contact each one of these with one sequence with three steps. So an initial email and two follow-ups. And let's say we do that over the span of 3 months. Then let's say that we have a total reply rate of 2%, which is, I would say, pretty normal. And then we have a positive reply rate of 20%. Typically, the positive reply rate should be in the range of 15 to 35. And then we have the meeting booked rates, which should ideally be 30 to 50%. I've put it as 40 here. And let's say you close these deals that you book at a rate of 20%, and the LTV is $10,000, and you're paying $3,000 per month for outreach, which would approximately be the price you pay here at Scalesprint. So these are the calculations that we need to take into account here. Now, you might be asking, okay, so what happens after the campaign window, right? We contact each person in our TAM with a three-step sequence in a 3-month span. Well, what happens after? Well, what you do after is you go back to the beginning of the list and you start retargeting over the following 3 months after that. So it becomes a retargeting motion where you essentially will target your entire TAM with one sequence 4 times per year, since you do it every 3 months. Now, you might also be saying that, hey, doesn't the KPIs completely deteriorate over time if you're just retargeting the same people? And the answer is no. And the reason why the answer to that question is no is the same reason it would be no with something like meta ads, right? Like, you can run meta ads for years and be profitable, even though it's the same people receiving the ads, because people are in different situations in different points of time. So it makes sense to retarget people, whether that is with emails, whether that is with LinkedIn DMs, calls, or ads. It's the same kind of thing going on. So these are the metrics that we're going to be operating with here. So let's see what this results in. So basically, to reach out to the entire total addressable market, we will need to send 150,000 emails over the span of these 3 months. So that would be 50,000 emails per month. And given the reply rate, that would be 1,000 replies. And given the conversions we have here with the positive reply rate and the meetings booked, that would be basically 26.7 meetings per month on average. So let's break down the return on investment here. So the total campaign cost was $9,000 because it's 3 months of 3K. The cost per meeting is 113. The customer acquisition cost is 563. Deals closed is 16, and the revenue generated is $160,000. So the net profits, not the actual net profit, but the difference between the revenue generated and the total campaign cost, would be $151,000, and the return on investment here would be 16.8. So as we can see here, this is a really, really profitable campaign here, and you don't even need crazy metrics. Like a 2% reply rate is nothing crazy. 20% positive reply rate is nothing crazy. 40% meeting book rate is nothing crazy. 20% close rate on cold traffic is nothing crazy, right? So all of this is very, very doable. But let's look at how to actually improve these different metrics in order to get to this goal. Because this is essentially what we like to do with our customers here at Scalesprint is look at what is the actual goal, right? Let's say we want to give them a 16.8 times return on investments. These are the metrics that we would need to hit. And so the question for us becomes, how do we hit these metrics? Now, so let's look at them one by one. So the first one is reply rate. How do you get a good reply rate? Well, what you want to do here is you want to have a good list that is really targeted, and you want to be able to have high email deliverability. So you want to land in the primary inbox. You want to have a domain rotation system. You want to be able to monitor domain health over time, switch out any burnt domains. So these are all things you want to do when it comes to improving the reply rate. Let's say we want to improve instead the positive reply rate. We're not getting enough positive replies. Well, what we can do here is we can simply write better copy, but most of the time it's an offer problem. So you can change your offering to get a better positive reply rate. You can lead with a front end offer or a lead magnet or something. I've also, if we look at the Scalesprint workflow here or the flow chart, we can see that there are 3 different types of call to actions that you can try out. So direct book a call. If that is too much friction, essentially, in the sales process, you can do lead magnets or front end offers, or you can do an interest based call to action and have a conversation with the prospect over email before you ultimately pitch the call. Now, let's look at meetings booked ratio. So, this will often depend on your appointment setting process. So, you have to ask yourself, how fast are you getting back to leads? And what channels are you contacting them on? Are you just only contacting them on email once they've shown interest? Or are you also sending them an SMS, connecting with them on LinkedIn, and also giving them an actual call by finding their mobile number and using a dialer to call them, right? So you need to ask yourself all those questions. And also, how fast are you getting back to them? Are you using a subsequence? Are you using AI? Do you have an inbox manager that can get back to people fast? And unfortunately, I see a lot of in-house teams that think it's very easy to run cold outreach, but they're forgetting that some of these factors are really important and they don't have an optimal system in place for optimizing all of these things at once. And so they just end up spending over 10 hours per week running the system, but it's not optimal. Another thing is also having a really aggressive post-reply sequence, which is really important. So following up literally the day after they responded with interest, the day after that, 2 days after that, and then following up with them for at least 90 days after that. So those are basically the ways to improve these metrics. When it comes to the closing rates, of course, this is more of your internal sales process that is going to determine that. But some of the things that I recommend for that is changing the offer and also some of the optimization points I have here. So having a thank you page with clear instructions, make them accept the meeting, make them watch a 7-minute explainer video, have an FAQ with the most common objections on your landing or on your thank you page, having a welcome flow, having a pre-call flow, running a 2-call close. These are all things that can be done to improve the closing rate here. And then, of course, with the average deal value, this all has to do with your offering, so I'm not going to touch on that here. So that is basically what I wanted to cover in this video. These are all the things you need to think about in order to be profitable with cold outreach. If you want us to run your cold outreach and hopefully get metrics like this, you can check out scalesprint.io. You can book a meeting with me. If you have a system in place already, I can audit it for free. But if you want to just work with an agency, that's also, of course, something you're more than welcome to book a meeting and then we can discuss it. So that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.